Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slickmoff here, back again with another video. And once again, on my channel, I have a very special guest with me, Evan of the Spidey Squad, the president, commander-in-chief of the Spidey Squad, back with me again. So we're going to be talking about E3, and we actually did this exact video last year for E3. We got some of our predictions right, some of our predictions wrong, and of course the same thing will happen this year. So this year, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man PS4, of course. We're going to be talking about the Avengers Project. And at the end of the video, we're going to be talking about WB Montreal and Superman's supposed, or Rocksteady's supposed Superman game, or whatever they're working on, and whether we will see something there. So, Evan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Slickmoff, and that for amazing introduction. I'm beyond honored to be back on your amazing channel and do this awesome E3 hype collab with you. In 2017, where we got the demo for Spider-Man PS4, the very first ever gameplay showcase for that game, and seeing how far we've come. We're now in 2018. We have now an official release date for the game on September 7th, and just seeing how we're so close to the finish line, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's under 6 months, and it's just a matter of time now at this point. And I think that E3 is going to be a great way for them to really show off the game to a mass audience. We've seen the, first gameplay trailer that obviously went viral, right? I mean, a lot of people saw that. But this is going to be a great way, I feel, for them to introduce some of the main story elements of the game. We didn't necessarily get a lot of story elements from the first, gameplay tease with Mr. Negative and stuff like that. We obviously saw some of the gameplay dynamics. We saw that Mr. Negative is in the game. But I think that this next story trailer, or whatever we're going to get at E3, and I do think it will be an E3 gameplay sort of demo reel. And I do think, by the way, that Spider-Man PS4 will be playable at E3, which I'm sure is very exciting for you because you are going to be there. So that'll be your first time playing the game, right?
Oh my god.
Is that correct?
I haven't even really, if that would be the case, because I haven't even thought of that, but at E3, usually they have demo showcases that they show off just to people behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if they're really close to coming out with Spider-Man, now that we know it's coming out on September 7th, there's a very high chance that there could be a actual playable demo for the fans at E3 itself. Okay. I don't know about a download on PlayStation, because that was a question that some people were asking for Game Informer, is there going to be a playable demo that we can download? Yeah. And Brian Intihar, the creative director, basically said, we're just really focused on finishing the game and getting it to release. So if there is a downloadable demo, oh my god, that'd be amazing. But I think definitely what you said, Slickmoff, that there will be a demo at E3, and I'm going to lose I need another pair of pants if that's going to happen. That would be insane.
No, dude, I do not think there's going to be a playable demo. I mean, it's possible that they will do that. I don't know. I mean, maybe just the 15-minute demo of Mr. Negative, just so people can swing around. I don't know. It's probably good for promotion. I think it's unlikely though, especially with what Brian said about that. But I'm saying that at E3 it's going to be playable on the showroom floor. So for people in attendance at E3, you will be able to play the game. So lucky you have E3 tickets. Thanks for the invite. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah. How did you even get tickets, by the way? Don't you have to preserve, isn't it a whole ordeal to get those?
You do. You have to pre-order them and just get on at the online website for E3 as soon as you can, because even though they just now announced Sony's conference is on June 11th, people are already selling out all these tickets. All the press tickets are gone. And I think now half of the E3 tickets are almost sold out. So I just went on there as soon as I could, and just got a couple tickets for myself and my mom, who's coming with me too. But oh my god, it's gonna be crazy going down there, dude.
Well, that's really good. And what you have to do is you have to bring somebody with you, bring you a cameraman, and they're going to need to record you playing Spider-Man PS4 for the first time. We want to see your reactions to web slinging for the first time, your reactions to fighting people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you have somebody with you to record, because you're not going to be able to bring a Elgato and game capture, But just get a nice over-the-shoulder POV cam of you swinging around as Spidey, right?
I'll bring my selfie stick.
Bring your selfie stick. Exactly. Okay, so our predictions for E3, Spider-Man PS4, I think definitely a new gameplay demo, or some aspect, I think Insomniac will probably go on stage and talk about the story. So, like, getting more about the main villains and stuff like that. I mean, there's been some, like, leaks or talking about, like, who's going to be the villain. Not leaks per se, but just, like, rumors, right, of like, who we think could be the main villain. But, you know, I think maybe they'll talk about that a little more. They'll talk about, like, the main plot storyline. So they could come on the stage to accompany that, and then they'll have a demo, and then I think that the game will be playable on the E3 showroom floor. So that will be pretty lit. Any other thoughts on Spidey?
Oh, that would be beyond amazing if anything happens, because we already have the great news from Game Informer about everything that we've like wanted ever since we collabed all the way back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
With the release date, we got it. Collector's Edition, we got it. Digital Deluxe Edition, we got it. We have all this great information that Game Informer provided us. And now it's like, well, what can they possibly do from now until September to show off more stuff? Well, lucky enough, on the time that we're doing this collab on May 11th, Sean Layden, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, posted on the PlayStation blog today that we're getting full, in-depth, deep dives of 4 big PlayStation exclusives. And one of them, of course, is Spider-Man, which is awesome. And he basically goes on to saying that the drop of footage and information that they're going to reveal at E3 will just blow us away, which I'm really excited for. And because we've already seen so much gameplay from Spider-Man, we've seen the web swinging, we've seen the combat, we've seen a couple more bits of footage in regards to bits of the story, and Game Informer described the beginning of the game. So maybe at E3 they could possibly show us maybe the first hour of the game, since they're going fully in depth of the game itself, or maybe, since what a lot of people are wondering about, what is going to be different between playing as Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Mary Jane, since Mary Jane's playable, and you can also play as Peter Parker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, Mary Jane's playable in Spider-Man PS4.
Interesting.
Which is nuts. And I think that since she is a journalist for the Daily Bugle, she's an investigative reporter for the Daily Bugle, and Peter Parker's a scientist, and seeing how Insomniac have confirmed that you can play as both of them, it's going to be really interesting to see how their gameplay is going to be different from Spider-Man, and also seeing how the traversal in the city itself is going to play out as just a normal player. Because what we saw from Game Informer, it was like you could only explore certain parts of the city. If we're able to actually play the game at E3 and just swing around the city itself and just experience Spider-Man firsthand as just free roaming in the city, that's going to be nuts. But I think possibly a good hands-on demo of either the first half of the story, or the first hour of the story, similar to what Days Gone just did for Game Informer. That'd be really cool. Or I think what would be cooler is seeing what the Peter Parker gameplay and Mary Jane gameplay is like, because that's the one aspect of gameplay we have not seen yet. So
definitely.
I think that'd be really cool.
You know, that is really interesting about the Mary Jane. I mean, I knew we were playing as Peter Parker. I never saw that about MJ. And just seeing how that is going to work and, like, what parts of the story. I mean, I know they said that it's not going to be, like, free roams. You can't, like, I don't know, like, swing around as, like, Peter Parker. I mean, there might be a Peter Parker Spider-Man. I don't know. But you know what I mean. Like, it's going to be a whole different ball game is the way that I perceived their comments on that. Is like playing as Peter Parker is going to be completely unique and completely different to playing as Spider-Man. So seeing how that plays out is going to be really interesting. And maybe they might select like a gameplay demo where you start playing as Peter and then at some point you switch into Spider-Man or whatever. So there's definitely a lot of possibility there. And I think that we'll definitely see some good stuff in that regard for Spidey at E3.
Absolutely, dude. And just seeing how close we are to the game, I can't handle it, dude. It's nuts.
Definitely. So let's talk now about the Avengers Project. Now, the Avengers Project, if I recall, it was announced a year ago, correct?
Yeah, it was announced specifically in January of 2017.
Oh, January.
Okay. Literally nothing since.
Oh, sorry. Somebody's calling me. That's right. January of... Okay, so I thought it might have been at E3, but clearly I'm wrong. So... In that case, they said as soon as they announced in early of 2017, they were like, "You are not going to hear anything more from us in 2017."
Correct.
There is going to be nothing the rest of the year. So we're like, "Oh, damn, that kind of sucks." But now it's no longer 2017. It is now 2018. It'll be halfway through 2018. And I think that we can expect something with the Avengers Project, especially, of course, given that, I don't know, like the biggest crossover Avengers movie or superhero movie of all time just came out, and it was an Avengers film. So I think that all, together culminates to a very strong likelihood that we'll see something with the Avengers Project. Now, I will say this. I would be a little surprised if for the Avengers Project we got something like we will get for Spider-Man PS4, like in-engine gameplay. With the Avengers Project, what I think is a lot more likely, and still really cool, it's just that the game's not as far along, and the project is incredibly ambitious in terms of size and scale, is I think what's more likely is some CGI trailer of some kind, somewhat similar to the first one, but just giving a little bit more insight to the story or something or characters in the game. I mean, I could totally be wrong. Maybe they'll just come out with gameplay and really shock me. But from what they've described about, like, this game, it's by Square Enix. It's a very ambitious game. A lot of characters, like, a lot going on. I think that this game is a little bit further from the finish line than Spider-Man PS4, for instance, or a lot of other games. So, in my opinion, I think it's a little bit ambitious for us to anticipate or to expect, like, gameplay of Avengers Project. But we can definitely get something new, and I think that we will get something new from the Avengers Project at E3.
Absolutely, and I can definitely see how Marvel is really, I guess, trying to showcase these games in regards to their new lineup of different AAA action adventure superhero games that they're trying to put out, starting off with Spider-Man, of course, and then they announced the Avengers. And with Square Enix behind the wheel this time instead of Insomniac with Spider-Man, we now have Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, and Eidos Montreal, who of course worked on the Tomb Raider games, and they are the ones who are making this game. And that's what's really exciting me and a lot of other people in regards to the talent that's behind this. However, even though it's looking like it's really going to be a promising game, sadly there's all these like rumors and news reports coming out like, oh, the game could have microtransactions, or it's going to be an MMORPG and all this stuff. So I definitely agree. I think this game is way out from where we expect it to release. I definitely think, even though we are most likely going to see it at E3 2018, I don't think it will release in 2018. I think it's mostly going to release in 2019. And I definitely also think that in regards to what we could see for the game, a lot of people don't even know what this game is. So I do agree with you 100% that I think we could see either a CG trailer of some kind with actually showing the characters of the Avengers and seeing who the, I guess, villain is, or what the plot of the story is, or what's going on really, with maybe some snippets of what we can expect of the game to be, or maybe an actual in-engine gameplay trailer like you said with Spider-Man. That would be really cool as well. But I definitely think that this is time for, since Spider-Man's going to be coming out in September, and that's the big first AAA Marvel game that we're going to be getting. The next one in that list is going to be Avengers, and I think if they want to really showcase, like, oh, Avengers is going to get the same treatment as Spider-Man, if not a better treatment, since we have such great publishers and developers behind it, I think a CG trailer or a gameplay trailer really showcasing the point home, like, this is the Avengers game that we've been waiting for. These are the characters that you know and love, and these are the characters that you can expect to see in this game with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, all these great characters. And what the description of the game says, like, oh, this is a game that you'll be able to play for years to come. So that's a really interesting quote from the trailer description saying how long we can play the game for. So I think that they really want to try and drive that home with a really cool new trailer of the game. I don't know if we get a gameplay demo, that'd be amazing, but I think that we'll definitely see some in-depth footage of the game, either with a trailer or a CG trailer of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, the leaks about that there's going to be a lot of microtransactions, that's obviously concerning. The MMORPG part, though, I mean, that sounds really cool to me. Like, imagine RuneScape, except you're like Thor, like flying around. I don't know. Like, I think that could be really cool. A massive multiplayer online Avengers game. That doesn't really concern me that much. That's kind of what I anticipated from the game. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a typical, like, single-player story, like Spider-Man PS4, or like the Batman Arkham games, for instance. So that's totally fine. Of course, we're just gonna have to wait longer. Also, it's so early in development that whatever plans they have to like have microtransactions or to not have microtransactions, I mean that can all change, and it's just so far out that it's one of those things that it's almost not even worth hypothesizing too much about what the game will be, and more so just like letting it come to us at this point and just seeing what they have in store for us.
Oh, definitely. And I can already tell that I love all the Tomb Raider games that Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix have put out, and seeing how they really focus on character development, they really focus on great narratives, and of course, awesome graphics. So I've been expecting that to just go and be implemented within Avengers. And even though if it's an MMO or like an action adventure game, I'd be fine with anything, because an Avengers game that you can play for years to come, that just sounds amazing to me regardless. So I just can't wait to see what they're going to show off.
Definitely. So now let's talk about Last of Us 2 and take a quick deviation from the superhero genre before we jump into the DC side of things. So with Last of Us 2, Part 2, that is slated for 2019 release. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. Specifically, I think mid 2019, because the developers of Days Gone said that their game is coming out early 2019, and also that it's releasing before Last of Us Part 2, and I think they specifically said March 2019 for Days Gone. So I think Last of Us will come out sometime after March 2019. I'm thinking fall of 2019. I know that seems a long ways away, but I think given how big this game's going to be and how how big of a scope it is compared to the first one, and how graphically different and how graphically improved it is, I think they're going to need some more time to just polish it up and improve it in visually and narratively, and how awesome it's going to be with the gameplay and everything. So I would say fall 2019, sadly, but I think it's going to pay off.
No, I think it'll definitely pay off. And my hopes for E3 for this game would really be gameplay. I mean, we got that first trailer. It was, really good, I would say, with like Ellie singing, if you remember. It was a while ago. We didn't really get a whole lot about the story. At the very beginning, you see the Fireflies like little logo. So I mean, there's not a lot going on there in regards to the story. We had the creative director. He's come forward and like talk a little bit more about what the story is going to be, and how it's like a story of like anger and revenge and like hatred and that kind of thing. So it's like, well, geez. So that's gonna be interesting to see that. Otherwise, though, what I would really like to see, like I said, would just be gameplay. Some aspect of gameplay of us playing as Ellie, and how that's going to work. I mean, of course, the gameplay is going to be similar to The Last of Us. They already have the gameplay engine. There's obviously going to be improvements, but I think we can generally expect the same thing. But what would really make me happy would be to see some like gameplay demo from the game, and I would be more than satisfied with that.
Oh, I'd be beyond satisfied too, because I love Last of Us 1. I think that it is up there with some of my favorite games of all time. And Ellie being the main character of this one, and seeing how she's grown from the first game to this game, and she was like, I think 13, 14 in the first one. Now she's like 19 in this one. And seeing how like the narrative element of the first game was about, finding compassion in this kind of post-apocalyptic world, and trying to find out what it means to be alive and survive in kind of these harsh conditions of this kind of infected status of this kind of like post-apocalyptic world. Now this one, like, it's even more into this infected world with the clickers and all those just spore monsters, which is awesome. And that's what I love about the first game, just how crazy detailed all the infected are in that game. And Ellie being more mature, being on her own, what it seems like. I mean, we see Joel, we don't know if he's dead or alive, but I would say he's alive. And I think that just seeing how far Naughty Dog is going to go with this story, like what you said, it's more about hate this time around, revenge, anger. I think that's really going to pursue how Ellie has come from the first game to this game, and seeing what the goal of this game is. Just trying to get what she wants in revenge is going to be really cool to see be played out.
Definitely. So I would say that's pretty good, talking about The Last of Us and what we want to see there in regards to like story aspects and gameplay. So let's move on now to the DC side of things. So the main developers that we know of would be Rocksteady, who created the Batman Arkham franchise, and then WB Games Montreal, who created Batman Arkham Origins, the Batgirl DLC for Batman Arkham Knight, and other things like that. That is a studio created by the publisher, Warner Brothers, of course, thus the name WB Montreal. They created Batman Arkham Origins. They have been rumored to be working on a Batman video game, and then there have also been some rumors that they are making changes to that Batman video game, but from what we know at this point, it seems that they're actually still working on a Batman video game, just a slightly different one than when they initially started working on it at whatever point that was. And then we also have Rocksteady, who has been rumored to be working on all kinds of different things. Superman seems to be the leading rumored title that they're working on, with a recent 4chan post coming out. Now, I saw this 4chan post, and it was like from Anonymous, and usually the 4chan person is making like some claim to fame of how they would know this, or like, I don't know. To me, the 4chan post, I didn't give much credence to. With that being said, though, that's not to say that I'm a doubter that they're working on a Superman game. It's just saying I don't really think the 4chan post is anything we should be investing in. It's interesting to me how people, at this point, like, it's just been so long. I don't even know how to, like, describe it, but, like, I just feel like I've been talking about these games for so long, and nothing has happened, and like,
dude.
I remember saying last year, I think we were doing the same thing last year, and I think I said something to the effect of like, it has been so long, they have to announce it this year. I mean, W Montreal's, their last game was like 4 years ago. Rocksteady, it's been 2 years since they finished their last game. Like, we just are going to get something from DC. It just has to happen. It's been so long. It's just time. And we can all see what happened there. And here we are in 2018, and I just feel like the same thing applies. I was wrong last time, but I just feel like the same thing, like, it's been so long. It's been an additional year past when I thought that it was like unfathomable that they would not announce something more and just keep us on this cliffhanger. And I don't know. Am I stupid for trying to predict the same thing again? I just feel like I'm, like, fool me once, shame on me kind of thing. I just think, like, it's inevitable. Like, we have to get something from DC at E3. Like, I don't see any... I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know.
I gotta take this to my grave right now. If we don't get any announcement of any kind of any DC games, I just don't even know what they're doing anymore. Like, you've covered these games
that would be
since
insane.
Day one.
I just don't... There is no way. There is no way, Evan. It's impossible. There is no DC. It's impossible. There has to be. There just has to be.
It literally would make 0 sense for them to not show anything at all.
They have to.
There's no other way around it.
There's
Marvel,
no... Sorry, continue.
Marvel is just going in on the free range that DC has given them with this free time, with just holding back. Because, of course, like what you said, Arkham Knight was the big final Batman project from Rocksteady. They, of course, had Arkham VR, but that was just kind of a small little additional thing. And Warner Brothers Montreal, I don't know what's going on over there. It was a Suicide Squad game, canceled. It was a Damian Wayne Batman game, it's rebooted. Okay, it's this Arkham Insurgency, done. Like, no, like we have no idea what's happening. We don't even know if they know what's happening. I think we need an update about something now, because we like Marvel is coming in, like, that was the big the comparison that people were saying about Marvel and DC, like, oh, Marvel's killing it with the movies, but DC's killing it with the games. Well, guess what? Now Marvel's coming in with both movies and games, with Spider-Man and Avengers, and just seeing with DC where they've been holding back for a while now, and Rocksteady's saying we're working on something big, and saying, like, when you guys see it, some of you guys will cry when we reveal what it is. So it's like, wow, okay, Rocksteady will hopefully that you come through, because with Arkham Knight, which is personally my favorite Arkham game, I think they nailed it gameplay-wise, narrative-wise, graphic-wise, and of course you did that video the other day where you reacted to the old Superman games and how, it's not much more that good. So if Rocksteady can actually come through with a AAA good Superman game that they can pull off properly, and if we take in 4chan's post into consideration, which I'm the same boat as you. Like, I don't know if I believe it or not because it comes from 4chan of all places, which is so weird. But apparently the map of Metropolis is going to be 3 times bigger than Arkham Knight. We have a Superman that's nerfed a bit more to make it similar to the animated series Superman. So he's not super strong, but he is still pretty strong. And we also just have...
He's not Superman. He's like mediocre man. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, mediocre, exactly. Moderate man.
Moderate man, yeah.
We have a kind of story that's going to not have you play as Clark Kent, but a Superman that will go against Brainiac as the main villain of this game, if it turns out to be true. And a combat system that's more like Dragon Ball Z, which I find really interesting since you fly around, you can just punch people really fast and hopefully use more powers like laser beams or, ice breath or something. That'd be really corny but funny and cool at the same time. So I don't know. I mean, clearly, if anyone can do it, it's Rocksteady. I have total faith in them. They've killed it with Batman. They did an excellent job with all the Batman games. And I think they can definitely do it with Superman. And Warner Brothers Montreal, I just don't know. Like, is it Batman? Is it Suicide Squad? I don't know. But if it is still a Damian Wayne Batman game, I'd be up for it. I'm down for change. We've had 4 Batman Arkham games focused around Bruce Wayne. So I think that a change, if we do play as Damian Wayne, would be really cool. And I just really hope that, given what Warner Brothers Montreal did with Arkham Origins, which I do like. Some people don't like Arkham Origins. I really do like Arkham Origins. I think they can definitely pull off a good Batman game this time around for the next-gen systems. Because even though they made the DLC for Batgirl in Arkham Knight, they didn't do a full game. But I think that if they do their full-own game for just next-generation consoles with this new take on Batman, if it is Damian Wayne, I think it'd be really cool for people to try and experience.
Yeah, I think that the bus for Suicide Squad has passed. The game was canceled, and I think like the popularity of Suicide Squad has also kind of passed. The movie was a pretty big phenomenon. I mean, like everyone dressed up as like Harley Quinn and Will Smith, yeah. Will Smith's Deadshot, you know what I mean? And just like all this thing, and having Will Smith play Deadshot and like all this, it was a pretty popular thing at the time in 2016. I think the bus has passed for that. I don't think that they're going to do Suicide Squad. I think that from my best guess and what we know at this point, it seems that they are doing a Batman game slightly different than the one that was leaked like 17 years ago with like Damian Wayne and like all this sort of thing. So I really think that we can't really predict what they're going to announce per se. I'm just saying that if they announce nothing at E3, we should just pronounce the studio dead. Like the studio just doesn't exist anymore. As far as I'm concerned, they're just not a thing. Like they were absolved. All 450 employees, they just like disintegrated into dust. I don't know. It's it's crazy. We just have to get something. That like, I don't have anything more to say. It's just like we have. There's gonna be DC stuff at E3. It's just period. It's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Because if not, it just doesn't like. There just has to be. Just has to.
There's no way they can't do it because
no way.
if they were to do nothing, they would be screwed forever. And
people would lose interest.
Said, the studio would be pronounced dead because of how there's no activity going on there at all. So it would feel like to the DC gamer or just for a superhero gamer, like, oh, Spider-Man and Avengers are coming out, great. So is DC coming out with anything? And then if they show nothing, then some people are thinking, oh, well, I guess it's just Marvel games now. But no, I think definitely what you're saying, like, I think they actually have to, or else I think they would actually get in some big trouble with fans. Because there would be like a big backlash. Like, where's the DC games? Where's this game that you're working on, Rocksteady? Where's this game, Warner Brothers? Like, we need some type of update on what's going on. And that would make people happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like... It's common courtesy in a way to just like keep your fans in the loop of like of what's going on, and also it's good to keep you excited. I mean, Rocksteady's been doing some things on their Twitter, like posting concept art from Arkham Asylum, but that only goes so far. Like that's more tapping into like nostalgia of the past, more so than tapping into like excitement of the future, because they haven't given us anything to be excited about. The only thing that we have been given to be excited about is leaks from other people, not from them. And the only thing that is sort of like stringing them along, I feel like, within the general public is like these leaks. But even so, I mean, these leaks, as much as I would like to think that like people care about them a lot, and on my channel, like I've my videos on the Batman Arkham leaks for WB Montreal have been viewed millions of times, and like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people have commented and like reached out to me, and I get reached out to every day about the like, as much as I want to think that people are super hyped for it, if you really look at the mass audience, like the mass video game audience, people aren't really talking about like WB Montreal. Like, people aren't talking about the next Batman game. People aren't talking about the next like whatever. Now, yes, people are excited for Rocksteady because people know about Rocksteady. But my point is, like, the broader DC brand is going to fade from memory, from people's memory, as a video game license. At once it was, like, sort of renowned to be, like, the big thing, like DC Universe Online was a really big thing at one point. The Batman Arkham games, a lot of people think that those are among the best superhero video games ever made, and they were incredibly popular, sold incredibly well, millions and millions of copies. And to not do anything, I think it goes past to the point of like being absurd. At this point, it starts to move into like the bad business move, and that's where WB, among other things, they're not going to make bad business moves, and I think it would be a terrible business move to go this absurd length of time without announcing anything. And for that reason alone, I think we will get something from DC at E3 2018, and if not, then I'm just gonna like wither away. I don't know. Just lose my mind. I don't know. Something like that. But yeah.
Exactly. Well, I just know for a fact that even if they don't show anything, but I definitely think that they will, just like you said, because it would just be absurd if they didn't at this point. E3 is going to be, specifically E3 2018, this year is going to be the E3 of superhero games. We got Spider-Man, Avengers, and 2 most likely DC games, which is just nuts. And of course, just all these other games that are coming out, like Last of Us and Death Stranding, which I'm super excited for, and Ghost of Tsushima, and just all of these great games is going to be nuts. And I just can't wait to see what we're going to get.
Absolutely. And this is just what we know. Who knows? We didn't know anything about the Avengers Project. That was a huge surprise to us. And I'm also looking forward to the Marvel or DC game that we didn't talk about, like the Green Arrow game or the Flash game or the whatever, like the game that we didn't think about that we were, the Iron Man game, for instance, like the game that we didn't think about that a studio has been working on for a year and has kept under wraps. That is something also to look out to. That being said, if we only get Spider-Man, if we only get Rocksteady's DC game, if we only get Avengers Project, I say only to be, facetious. Obviously, that's incredibly surprising and will be great on its own. But it's also something to be noted that there are potentially more surprises in store that we did not predict today. And that is also something to keep our eyes open for.
Absolutely. And I just know for a fact that this year's going to be nuts. I mean,
yep.
Besides the fact we're getting all this crazy stuff from Avengers, Spider-Man, just the fact that Spider-Man does release this year in less than 5 months is less than 4 months, actually. What am I saying? Less than 4 months is nuts.
Is it less than 4 months?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
It's May. God dang. How about that?
I know.
It's been a long time coming.
I'm not ready, dude. I'm not ready.
Yes, you are. You're ready. You were born ready, Evan. You were born ready. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. As always, you're always welcome on, and we'll definitely be doing some more videos in the next several months on Spidey PS4, among other things. Thank you again so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Slickmoth. It's truly an honor to be here as always, and I couldn't picture anyone better to be able to do this amazing collab with. And just thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on. My name is Slickmoth, and I will see you guys in the next video.